Hey guys, so this is my first official Ask Jessi Kneeland question and answer video. I'm reading a question from Emily. Emily writes, "You talk a lot about becoming who we want to be to fulfill our deepest desires and grow and thrive as the individuals we always wanted to be. I've been struggling and striving to achieve that for years, and the thing is that when I try to look deeply, I see nothing. My goals and wishes fluctuate with time and seem to be inspired by lots of outside elements, like interviews of people that I admire or what's in the news, which seems shallow somehow, at least to me. So basically, how can we achieve the goal of becoming who we were meant to be when somehow we fail to see what it is that we really want to be and to do?" So, Emily, the reason I chose this question is because so very often I've heard echoes of this sentiment from the women that I work with. And I think that there is a huge element of fear that comes when you look inside and then you don't see anything. You don't know who you are. You don't know even what you want. Because a lot of times we talk about, like, culturally, finding your purpose and, chasing your dreams, and, you can be whoever you want. And there's an implied idea that you should know who you are and what you want. So I think a lot of women feel a huge amount of shame that they don't know what that is or feel connected to maybe what that is. So that's why I chose this question, because I think it's a really, really important one to be addressing. And there's a few different directions that I'd like to go in talking about it. The first one being that when you listen, the looking deeply thing, when you listen to who you are and you're trying to see what you want and who you want to be, that is a skill. And if you don't hear anything or see anything, it's because you're not practiced at that skill. It's not because there's nothing there. And that's a really important distinguishing factor, because if there was nothing there, there would be nothing you could do. That would be it. You'd be empty inside. That's not how people work, though. So instead, it's just that you are not used to listening to those cues. And it takes practice and it takes time. So it's important just to know that you're not empty inside. There is a person who is you, and she is rich and full of desire and full of things that make her unique. And if you don't know that woman yet, that's okay, but she's there, and it's important that you know that she's there. And that you just have to start the process of learning how to listen to her if you haven't already. So, with that as the foundation for everything else that I say, I think if nothing else, just know that there's something there. So the thing about what to follow or who to, like those inspirations that you mention in terms of what feels shallow or fleeting, they are fleeting, and they should be fleeting, and it is completely okay if they shift, because what they are is your desires. And sometimes those desires take the form of something you want out of your life in an external way, and sometimes it takes the form of who you want to be in a really internal way. And it's okay that they shift. In fact, they have to shift. If you only wanted one thing, well, you'd probably be doing or being that thing already, because there would be nothing competing. But the cool thing about being a human being is that you get to have a lot of competing desires. And in terms of what will guide you, it's an issue of learning to follow what feels the most authentic for you. So, for example, I have a desire to learn French, and I have a desire to be the kind of person who cooks food. But those are they're relatively small desires compared to other desires I have, which is like to work all day, read, hang out with friends, continue pursuing my passions that are big desires, spend alone time doing nothing. Like, those are all things that are like really big desires. Therefore, learning French is just like, it's not happening. And I don't feel bad about that. It's just, I'm choosing to follow the ones that feel more authentically me. And someday, if it feels more authentically me to learn French than it does to like read books on self-development and I don't know, go for drinks with friends, then like that's what I would do. Because learning to distinguish the difference between which desires are passing or small compared to the desires which really fuel you, that's what that skill is, that listening to what's inside you. So if you can't tell the difference yet, I always say go with curiosity first. If you can't tell what you're passionate about, that's fine. We're not really taught how to hear our own passions, and unless you just happen to stumble upon one, a lot of times people don't have passions until they follow what makes them curious, because curiosity is a little message of desire, and the desire just basically says, I want to learn more about that. If you find astrophysics interesting and you're like, man, I would love to hear more about how, I don't know, red dwarfs work, that's curiosity, and that's what you should follow. If you don't have passion yet, follow curiosity. If you have passion, follow passion. But if you are somewhere in the middle, then let it be either and let them flow back and forth. But always check back in with yourself. Like, how do I really feel? What feels really authentic to me? And then let that guide you, and know that it sometimes feels like you're making it up. Like sometimes you're like, oh, I'm listening to my body, or I'm just inventing things. I don't know. It's okay. So invent things. But you're not inventing things because it's based on something. And that something is like your gut feeling. So if you allow yourself to follow curiosity and then listen to what your body is saying, which will either be, this is boring now, I learned about what red dwarfs and they're stupid, and now you let go of that thing, or your body will, give you, ooh, I like that, that's cool, and now you've got more curiosity and more curiosity. And eventually this may lead you to passion, and then you follow that passion, and that becomes the answer to what you're asking me, which is essentially like, who am I? How do I know who I want to become? You will become the things that you pursue in a way. You'll become the culmination of all the things you pursue. You'll become the passion that went into whatever you find that you're passionate about. You'll become energized and excited and happy if you pursue things that allow you to become those things. And another sort of important piece to this puzzle, I think, really worth talking about, is that when you allow yourself to be following these things, you're making decisions and you're moving forward. And if you tell yourself, I have to figure it all out and then I'll start making decisions, you sit still forever. And there's no room when you're sitting still to bounce yourself off of things, new experiences or people or activities or anything. So you end up literally not actually knowing who you are. If you want to discover who you are, bounce yourself off of stuff, people, things, experiences, everything you can, and you will find who you are, because you start to learn what makes you different from those people, things, and experiences, what makes you unique. And so for this reason, the best advice I can give in terms of this entire discussion, which of course is multifaceted and not this simple, but to boil it way down, would be do more stuff, make more decisions, meet more people, because those are the things that will show you. And if you let those things be things that make you curious, like if you're like, oh, I always wanted to like learn chess, and you join a chess club and then you discover, I hate chess, this is awful. Now you know something about yourself. You just filled in one little blank piece where you weren't sure who you were or how you felt about something, and now you have information there. And if you do that over and over and over, and you just keep giving yourself experiences by making decisions and doing stuff and meeting people, you will find all these little empty categories of who you are being filled in with information. And you'll see that the thing that makes you unique is the combination of 1,000 pieces of data about who you are, which is different than data about who someone else is. Even if you connect with someone and you're like, we're just the same, and then if you haven't done anything, you might not know the difference between the two of you and be like, yeah, like nothing about me is unique. Like she's practically the same person. But if you know a lot about yourself, then you know exactly what makes you different. You're like, we feel really similarly about work and books, but in fact, she loves chess because she's super competitive. And I, on the other hand, turns out I hate it because I would really rather only play against myself or whatever. So these are all pieces of data that you get to gather, and the only way to gather them literally is to do more stuff, meet more people, try more things, make more decisions. And honestly, if I could go back and give like 18-year-old Jessi any advice of any kind, it would be do more stuff, meet more people, try more things, make more decisions. Because there has been nothing as useful, as valuable in my life, and as forwarding for getting to know myself and what I want as that, trying more stuff, meeting more people, doing more things. Because at first and for a really long time, I just thought, I don't know, maybe I don't like anything. Maybe I don't care about stuff. Maybe, maybe I don't, maybe my place on earth doesn't matter. Maybe, like, it was like really vague. And it wasn't until I started connecting myself to these things and gathering those little pieces of data by bouncing myself off of things, experiences, people, and stuff, that I was able to see exactly what makes me unique. And in learning what made me unique, also what I wanted, both to be and to do, it suddenly started becoming very clear, like, oh, these are things that are important to me, and I really didn't know that before, or this is the kind of person that I want to be, and I didn't know that before. And the more people I meet, I learn about people and how they work, and I fall in love with them, and I fall in love with myself. And all of that can only happen by making decisions before you know what you want to do. So if you wait to make all the decisions and do all the things until you're like, that's my passion, I should pursue that, it won't work. You'll sit still and you'll be stagnant and you'll never know, and you'll feel empty inside. And you'll worry that you aren't anybody, that there isn't anything in there. But that's not true. There is so much. You don't know who it is yet. And you have to put yourself in motion by trying more things, meeting more people, doing more stuff, making more decisions, in order to get to know who that person is. I think that's all I want to say on that, but I'm really curious if this will resonate, because it feels like it's not even real advice, like go do more stuff. Like, it's the opposite of, like, it's like with Nike, just do it. Like, that does not inspire me, just do it. But consciously allowing yourself to make decisions and do things and try things with the purpose, with the intent of bouncing yourself off of them and learning a new thing about yourself, so that you can fill out a picture of who you are, so that you can look inside and know who you are and know what you want and have this motion as you're moving towards something that you want to be. I mean, that is everything, and we need that. We need everyone to be doing that. So that is my advice. I hope that this helps, and I can't wait to hear what you think.